All right, here's our video today. Adaptive immunity. I think we know what immunity means and what adaptive means. When you adapt to a new school or when you adapt to life away from home after you go to college. So it's basically, and let's get our pen going, the ability to change, right? That's what adaptive means. Let's write it in. Ability to change for the better, right? You don't want to adapt for the worst, right? So that's what adaptive means. And immunity, I think we know what that means, right? It's protection, right? Protection from disease, from pathogens. Our body, our body protects us. Tries to protect us, right? So if we put the two together, adaptive immunity, just basically simple, it's our immunity has an ability to change, to adapt. And we'll talk about that because there are two types of immunity, right? There's innate immunity, you're born with that. And adaptive is you're not born with. So let's make a chart. All right, so let's make this chart here. We'll say immunity. Well, we'll try to say it, right? Make sure our pen works. All right, immunity. So we have innate immunity, and again, that's with you what you're born with. We'll just write born with. When you're born, you have these white blood cells that protect you. So basically, any intruder that goes in your body, it's kind of a general response. Innate is a general response. It'll attack anything. The white blood cells. And there's many white blood cells. So it's a general response, not a respond. General response. Let's fix that. Get the eraser out. Fix that. There we go. General response. So then we have, like we were talking about, adaptive. And you're not born with it. Not born with. So in this case, it's a specific response. So again, and they're both using white blood cells. Different types of white blood cells are involved. So for example, let's say you get a splinter in your finger, you get some pathogen, you cut yourself. When you cut yourself, of course, your body's going to respond. White blood cells are going to come in and they're going to get rid of that pathogen, that whatever it is, splinter. So that's an innate response. But let's say an adaptive, and we're talking about adaptive in this video. There is a video on innate response immunity. But let's say you got measles, and most people in the United States had measles shots, and it's pretty much eradicated in the United States. But what happens with measles or with any type of virus or bacteria that your body is not used to, it will create a response. And so it's a specific response. In this case, the measles, the virus for measles, your body created an antibody. So it's creating antibodies. So in the future, if you get measles again that come into your body will already have it planned. So it's you get this virus, you recover from it, your body makes antibodies, and that will protect you for life. So another thing you can say about innate is it's quick, very quick response. Where adaptive is slow, it takes a while. Let's look at some analogies in this process. So go back if you need to, and I'll clear this out. Oh, by the way, there is no memory involved in innate. Your body just attacks. With adaptive, there is memory involved. And like I said, with the measles, your body has made antibodies that are made specifically for measles. We'll talk all about that. All right, you might be wondering, why is there a picture of football, old-time football? Look at those helmets. Well, here's a way we can describe being adaptive, how football had to adapt. Because if you go back before 1906, it was illegal to throw a football, a forward pass. So the forward pass was illegal. So before that, it was just pretty much a rumble, right? It's just one big mess. And then when the forward pass came about, teams had to adapt. So think about it. Before that, you had these people just smashing the the offensive line, try to tackle the person running with the ball. But once the forward pass came out, now you can have this speedster, this fast person just tearing down the line. Quarterback throws the ball, and teams who had not adapted to that won't succeed. So everyone had to adapt. Now you needed someone who can actually throw a ball, right? And they need someone who can catch a ball. And so people had to defend this speedster, this wide receiver. So that's an analogy of what's happening in your body. Your body gets a threat, it's a specific threat, and it will adapt. It will create a plan to stop it in the future. All right, let's go back. Leave football for now. Go back to a clean screen. And by the way, you can think of your white blood cells attacking a pathogen. The person holding the ball is the pathogen. White blood cells are attacking it. Doing that 24/7. All right, let's go back to our pen. Maybe we'll stick with yellow. Write up adaptive here. So there's two types of adaptive, and you could break those two types down even further. There's natural, and then there's artificial. Artificially. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. And from natural, you can have passive and active. And from artificially, you can have passive. And guess what? You got it, active. So think about this with active. With active, your body is doing something. With passive, your body is not doing something, it's getting something. So naturally, an adaptive is things we're born with and things that you're not born with, but you get. For example, you get breast milk. That's an analogy. Some people don't. Sometimes you just don't have that. So breast milk, your mom's breast milk has probiotics. So that's a natural thing, but it's passive because you're getting it. You're not born with it, you're getting it. Active is something we're going to talk more of in the next video, but it's when some pathogen enters your body makes antibodies. Body makes antibodies, right? And antibodies attack the pathogen. So that's natural. Some virus enters your system, the common cold, your body will try to make antibodies to attack it. Now, the common cold is different because it's very hard. The common cold is adapting consistently. It's evolving consistently. So it's hard for your own body to catch up with the evolution behind that. All right, let's make a line here so we don't confuse ourselves. So again, naturally, it's either passive, something's given to you, in this case, breast milk from your mother, or active, where your body will make antibodies from any pathogen entering your system. Now, artificially, what do you think artificially would be with active? Well, when you get a vaccine, right? The vaccine has been put in your body. It's active. Your body is now going to think that vaccine is a virus or a pathogen, and it will make antibodies. And the passive is when we get these things called monoclonal antibodies. These are man-made, human-made, if you want to say, antibodies. You can drink it. You can get it injected. And they come from someone else, or they can come from an animal. So an animal who has antibodies against, let's say, a certain disease, they can be put into you artificially, and that's passive. They're being put into you. Whereas in the vaccine, your body is being fooled into thinking that a virus or a pathogen, bacteria has entered your system and is creating antibodies based on that vaccine. So again, let's review. With adaptive, it's something you're not born with. It has memory. It's going to remember it created these antibodies for a specific, remember, it's a specific antigen, whereas innate was a general response to anything. Now, an adaptive, remember, you're not born with it, but it could be natural or artificial. And Just by looking at the chart, you see it's going to be passive or active for both. Remember, active is that you're actually doing it. In a sense, your body is actually creating the antibodies. Whereas in passive, you've been given the antibodies. In this case, for natural, it'll be the breast milk from your mother, and artificially, it'll be man-made antibiotics, monoclonal man-made. So in the next video, we'll talk more about a certain section of adaptive. We'll talk about the active natural, and we'll talk about the B cells and the T cells. All right, that's our video.